Hello, welcome to Geekyhijynx, home of the Mischief Makers, and today we're looking at Sun. And welcome back everyone to another episode of my to-the-point reviews where I keep things short, sweet, and to the point. And today, as mentioned, looking at a film called Sun. And if I keep twitching today, it's because I've got something in my eye and it keeps really bugging me. Like before this, I had like those big yawns you have and then you get water in your eyes and you rub your eyes. Well, obviously some dust has got in during that process and it's driving me nuts. So if I start like twitching in my left eye, I'm not having a fit and I need to call a doctor or ambulance or anything. I'm good. So the film was directed by Ivan Kavanagh. He's a director I've never heard of before. I don't think I've seen any of his previous works. If I have, he's just not a name that sticks out to me like Mike Flanagan or James Wan. But this could be the film that changes all of that. So the film follows a woman called Laura, and it's shown early on in the film that she was heavily pregnant and she was trying to escape some people, which turned out to be this cult. That's not a spoiler because it's in the synopsis, it's in the trailers, it's everywhere. So she's trying to escape this cult in the beginning of the film, and she does. It flashes forward 11 years to where she's living happily in the suburbs on the street, which looks just like the one that Laurie Strode grew up in Halloween. And there's a little reference to that. If you've caught it, let me know, because when I saw this scene in this film, I was thinking, I knew the street reminded me of Halloween, but this particular scene just flat out was taken from Halloween. So I'm gonna mention it later, and let me know if you got it as well. So you're doing the thumbs up thing. Always do one thumbs up, two thumbs. So Laura's got a good life. She's a teacher in a school. She's still going to these PTSD classes in the evening because obviously there's still some trauma from when she was brought up and grew up with this cult. But her son seems like a normal, happy kid. Until one evening, she believes she sees the whole cult in her son's bedroom. And from there, things take a sinister turn where her son becomes very ill and also has a thirst for human flesh. So before I go into what I liked and what I didn't like about this movie, I'm going to go into a little Halloween reference I mentioned earlier. See if you caught it. So essentially Laura, she's Laurie. Interesting. I just thought of that now. And she's in her home and she thinks she sees the cult in her son's bedroom. This is very early on in the film, and I've already mentioned this in the sort of plot and the premise of the movie. So she runs out and she's screaming in the street, and it's very reminiscent of that scene from the first Halloween, the original one, where Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode, is running across the road, screaming, help, 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 knocking on all the neighbours' doors. And it's almost a shot for shot, almost homage. I'm not going to say it ripped it off, because it must know that this scene is famous in like horror movies, like when it comes to like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Shining. They all have iconic moments, and this scene is very memorable in the Halloween movie. Like that's where Michael Myers is sort of walking really slowly towards them. Like such a good scene. I love that movie. I'm going to watch it very soon in Halloween, which is months away. I'm also going to mention this film is ripping off Little Shop of Horrors and The Omen. I'm going to say that from the bat, and I hope that's not much of a spoiler by saying that, because there's some reviews you watch and he mentioned, but I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but if anyone's seen the ending of The Sixth Sense, then you kind of know how this film's going to end. And it's like, well, now I know what to look out for in the film. Someone's going to be a ghost. That's not a spoiler at all what I just said about Little Shop of Horrors or The Omen. It's just the fact that, well, maybe it is. Now I've said it, I'm like, okay, dear. The Omen. It's not a spoiler. It's probably in the trailer. I need to check the trailer. I need to watch trailers before I do my review so I can kind of see what's been given away and what's not. So yeah, this is now turning into a spoiler review, but I'm not going to go into too much. So the reason why it reminds me of Little Shop of Horrors is the son turns out that he needs to eat people. He needs blood, human flesh. Now it reminds you of the plant. What was it, Audrey? The plant from Little Shop of Horrors that is dying. And it's like, feed me. And I forget his name now, the main character. They're remaking that film soon. They better not screw it up because I love the original. It's so cheesy, but it's like, mwah, beautiful. Love that kind of stuff. With the kid, he's eating people and he feels better. Like he has this illness and doctors can't figure out what's going on. But as soon as he gets a drop of blood, he feels better. And I was thinking, okay, this is just like Little Shop of Horrors. Replace the kid with the plant and the singing. If this was a musical, I'd probably have enjoyed it more. But yeah, that's what reminded me of Little Shop of Horrors. Then you got The Omen because of the whole cultish thing. And there are certain scenes in this film that are straight from, I don't know why I've done like a really long pause there, like suspense. But there are certain films in this, certain scenes in this film that are straight from The Omen. And again, that's not a spoiler, but like with the Halloween scene, I'm just contradicting what I said about The Sixth Sense. But just like Halloween, you can see a scene and be like, yeah, that's a scene ripped from The Omen. I don't have to try to do a homage to certain horror films by splicing things together, but it didn't work at all if that's what they were going for. So what did I like about this film? Not too much, I'm afraid. There were some good moments, and that's what kind of lets me down, because the good moments in this film were let down by the issues I had. And one of the good points with this film is the gore. Now, the gore was really impressive. It was realistic. It was like, oh, that's disgusting. That looks painful. And with a horror film, that's what I like. I like to like if you can make me not look at the screen, or like, you're doing a good job. When you're doing like what Wrong Turn did, now Wrong Turn had some amazing after-death effects. Not death effects, when they were dead. So that scene where the big log is rolling down the hill and they're like, and it cuts away. And then it comes back and the guy is like squashed against the tree. That was an amazing effect. And I saw it again today because I posted my review for that today. And I saw the image of it. And I was like, that's disgusting, but I love it. So the gore effects are really good. And when you're seeing people get killed, it might not be like, you might not be shown people getting killed or like torn to pieces, but it's implied to when one guy is getting eaten and by the sun, he's just like, but you're seeing all the blood splutter up and he looks in pain. And they sell pain and deaths really well in this film. The acting was good. Not great, but the way they sold deaths was really impressive. And that's a new move, by the way. Like when everything opens again in the summer, you need to do that I'm being eaten alive. And that's a nice little segue into the acting. And the acting was good. For the most part, the actress that played Laura, her name's going to appear on the screen any second now, she was pretty good. She wasn't bad. But the script and the story wasn't great. And I like to see her in better horror films or better movies in general, because I believe that with better material, she'll be pretty good. And the other characters like the son was good. He just annoyed me. He reminded me of, and it's just popped in my head now. Remember those two ginger kids, the two ginger twins, should I say, in American Horror Story in the first season? He kind of looked like their younger brother to a T. And I don't know why I didn't think of that at the time, but it just popped into my head now. But he was okay. He was clearly like having fun with the role he'd been given. So I gotta give it to him. He wasn't bad. Like most child actors in horrors, you're just like, oh, please be good. And he was alright. He only annoyed me in one scene when he saw his mum and he was like, "Mummy!" And I was like, who's his mummy at the age of like 10 or 11? Like once you go to like primary school or elementary school, if you're in America, if you say the word like, "Oh, my mummy and I did this weekend," someone will be like, "Mummy." And when you feel the shame of calling it that name, so you're like, oh, I meant mum. That's what I meant, mummy. So slip of the tongue. So when he said that, I was like, no kid that age says that anymore. I'm going way off tangent here. What I liked and what's also annoying is that there was a good story in here somewhere. There was a good premise, but they just didn't know what to do. So they kind of fluffed it with stuff that didn't need to be there. You could literally say this is 5 horror films in one. You've got The Cult. That's a horror film in itself. You got like a demon involved. That's another horror film in itself. You got a child who wants to eat people. That's another horror story in itself. You got a woman whose mental health isn't all there. She's imagining things. That's another film in itself. Now, if you're going to combine all 4 or more, there might be more in there that you spotted. But for me, if you're going to do that, it's got to be cohesive and it's got to work. And it doesn't. It's just so choppy. You go from, oh, that's a cool scene, to I'm going to just go make some soup quick. I'm not going to pause the film because this bit is just boring me to death. And the film is filled with loads of those scenes. But when it kind of grabs onto the concept or the premise it's going for, it's just half-baked. And you never fully get to where the film is trying to take you. And you're just left disappointed in the end. So it's a good idea, which is what I liked. But the issue I have, an early issue, is that it wasn't sort of executed properly. And the last thing I liked was the last 10 minutes. That was pretty cool. But again, seen it elsewhere in other better films. So even though I like Last 10 Minutes, it's almost like, why did we take so long to get here? Like, if you just took all the best scenes in this film, took out the crap, put in better dialogue, better writing, you never had a good film that you could be like, you know what, I'll probably go and watch this again, but it was decent. Like, I'll tell people to watch this. Unfortunately, it's like there's more filler in this than an anime episode, more filler in this than Naruto. So you're just sitting there half the time like, just get on with it. Please hurry up. Please hurry up. And there's just no energy as well on the screen. You just, apart from, ironically, when the son's doing his Audrey 3000. Is it Audrey 3000? I think that's the plant's name from Little Shop of Horrors. If it is, I'm a genius. But when the son's doing his horror thing, you're like, cool. That's energy. That's what I like. And then when it disappears for a minute, you're like, so what I didn't like, so I'm just going to whip through some really quick. I'm not going to go into too much, but I'm just going to give you quick bullet points because there's a lot I didn't like about this film. First point, the film was boring. It had no energy. I just couldn't get invested. When the scenes came alive, then you were, but it's almost like watching clips on YouTube. Like, you can watch the best parts of the film on YouTube and be like, oh, that looks interesting. But when you watch the whole film, you're just like, no, it's not. Like, it's not worth sitting through to get to these points in the movie. They were very quick, by the way. Good, but quick. So yeah, I was so tempted to get up. You know, with Shook, as bad as that film was, and this isn't a bad film, by the way. This was nowhere near as bad as Shook. Shook was so bad that I wanted to see how much worse it could get. And it did. It got so worse until the very last scene. So it didn't do a disappointment here. With this film, I was hoping it would get better, and it just stayed the same. And then you had its sort of peak moments, but there was nothing else there. It is also ridiculously predictable. I guess. Now, I've watched so many movies, and just like you guys, if you're massive into your films, and I was lucky growing up to have so many family members that like different kinds of music and different types of movies, so I got to watch everything from the 1933 King Kong to Angels of Dirty Faces to Goodfellas to the horrors to the Disneys to the Marvels to everything in between. I'm not above any film. I just like horrors more because they're more entertaining. About the moment, they're not so much entertaining. So I'm going to try and break them up with different things. But with this film, it's so predictable. And based on all the films I've watched in the past, like I mentioned, I know what's coming. I have a little book on me. And when I have a little thought that I want to mention in my review, like the Halloween thing, I think, okay, I'll write this down. And what I wrote down, I predicted. I predicted every single thing in this film. And especially regarding one character, I was like, yeah, but I know what's going on here. Like, you can't fool me. Watch too much stuff. And when it happened, I'm not going to say when I almost slipped up them, almost gave it away. But when it happens, you're just like, I knew it, not surprised, see you later. Dinner time. Another thing I didn't like about this film is when you check the time, and I checked the time at 44 minutes into the movie and realised I had like 15 minutes left. I was like, oh my God, I have to do this journey again. I've got to just do everything I went through again. Why? It drags. It is such a slow film. It moves at such a slow pace. And when the good moments happen, like I keep bringing up, it's good. But they happen they're like 1 minute scenes. Wedged in between 20 minutes of pure draggy boredom. Draggy is not a word. Dragging. It dragged. That's what I meant. Also, when a film's going to learn, jump scares, when placed in in dream sequences, jump scares aren't scary. But the only film that is scary when you're dreaming is Nightmare on Elm Street. And they're not really scary films, Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's terrifying thinking if you go to sleep, you're going to get murdered. And if anyone tried to stay up late, like more than a day, you know how painful that is. So that's horrific in itself. Dream sequences and jump scares within dream sequences and dreams within dreams, then you're woken up by a jump scare, is not scary. So when this happened, you just pull alright. And there's so many moments like that and you're just thinking, look, you're not scary. The big trombone, trumpet, cello noises with jumpy things isn't scary. Stop it. And this has placed my eye, see? It's twitching, stupid piece of dust. But yeah, misplaced jump scares. See, I don't think it's dust. I just think it's talking about jump scares, which makes me react. And my own little stupid nitpicky thing about this film was there's a scene where the mum's like talking to her son, and she goes, let's do something fun. The fair's in town. They have a carousel. And the boy's like, carousel? And I'm just like, carousel? Like, why are you so excited? If your mum went to, let's go out and buy the new PlayStation 5 and we can go to Disneyland for the day. When we come back, we can order a big pizza and you can stay up late watching horror films. I'd be like, yay! But if someone went to me, you're going to go to the carousel today, Joe. I'd be like, why? So overall, guys, you've probably guessed, this film, good premise with some alright acting performances, really good gore effects. It just got lost in itself. It just didn't know what it wanted to be. Do you want to be a Little Shop of Horrors? Do you want to be like an Omen film? Do you want to be a demon film? Do you want to be a cult film? What do you want to be? Tell me. It even reminded me of that film Fracture at one point. The Netflix original. That's an alright film. But it had like elements of that. And that's not like a spoiler or a giveaway. Even though this for whole review, I just kind of give away key points in the film. I'm going to take the word spoiler free out of any title or description for my videos going on because I just can't trust myself. But with this movie, yeah, like, I was bored. Really, really bored. And for me, bad and boring go in the same basket. But this wasn't a bad film. It was just a blah film. So with all my good points and all my negative points weighing each other, I would give this film a bronze. And it's a one-time spin because it's forgettable. I'm never going to watch it again. And it's okay at best. So guys, that was my 2-point review of Sun. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it a snooze fest or the greatest film you've ever seen? Come back to the comments and let me know because I'm interested. And if you enjoyed this video, drop me those likes because it always helps. But until next time, stay out of trouble.